One of the moments that changed me was I had to pay my social club bill for the month, and it was $107. And I opened the fridge up and there wasn't much good food in there, so that was a shock to me. I thought, this is ridiculous, I'm double anyone else here. It was just lazy, you know? Instead of getting a cup of water, I was grabbing a soft drink or a chocolate every time I walked past that fridge. So it was certainly a habit that was quite destructive to me.
My wife saw my results last year. 5 years ago, she had very complicated open heart surgery, and she tried to get her body back. So she tried to get back in the gym within 6 months, doing cardio, and it really caused a lot of problems for her. So she sort of was afraid of it, I guess. But then she saw my results and she was just so happy for me. And she was also of the opinion that, you know, wow, you can get such great results in such a short time, you know, relatively speaking, that she said next year, if there's another challenge, I'd be interested. And then it wasn't until I said, dear, I've got some news. You're going to in for 12 weeks of what we went through last year, so I hope you've got the broccoli ready. And she said, well, that's good, because I'm doing it too.
Well, my cousin Guillaume, who's the winner of last year's challenge, kind of influenced me. I thought, you know, this was probably, you know, something that I wanted to invest into, and you know, just change obviously my ways and lifestyle. So he inspired me to do, obviously, you know, the challenge.
Just really needed something to hold myself accountable. I really wanted to get leaner, just really change my outlook on life.
I was sitting on the couch one weekend, must be over 4 months ago now, and channel flicking. I should have been out riding or running or something, but there I was, you know, I was probably had a beer in my hand from memory. And I came across Muscle TV. I looked at it and went, wow, this is a pretty cool show. And I started watching it, and that was pure luck that that particular episode referred to the challenge starting in a few weeks' time. So I jumped on the internet straight after the show had finished, Googled it, looked at it, and I came across, I think it was Peter Venz, the police officer from, I think he came in second from memory, and I saw that there was so much information available to support you. I wanted to get involved.
I first met Peter Venz in about 1998. We were working at Surfers Paradise together. We were on the same team. We've been mates since then. He and I used to train together originally when he first started doing weights. He started doing weights with me. And then Ash Purvey, he is a mate of mine who I sort of met through Pete and through an old flatmate of mine who's also a policeman. So, yeah, so we've sort of known each other probably for the last, I've known Pete for almost 15 years and Ash for about 10 years.
The challenge came about for me talking to Peter Venz and Connor McCormick from the year before, both guys that I know from work. I saw how their transformation and how they did it, and I spoke to them quite frequently leading into the challenge, telling them I wanted to do it, and they didn't beat around the bush. They told me how hard it was going to be, and it was going to push me in every way, and that's something that was perfect for me. I really needed it.
I think what happened was I was always, I'd sort of been carrying the weight around, and then when I saw what Benzie had done last year, and I thought, geez, he's done really well and done it in 12 months, and I actually spoke to him and I'd mentioned it to him, and I said, mate, that's pretty tough, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, you know, cut out the sugar and cut out this and cut out that. And he actually said to me, he said, mate, you trained for and ran a marathon. If you can do that, you can train for this. And I thought, I think you're onto something there. When I sort of thought more about that, I thought, well, yeah, I spent, you know, 15 to 20 weeks training for a marathon. It's only 12 weeks. Why not just suck it up for 12 weeks, do it a bit tough, and, you know, 12 weeks now might mean 12 years at the end of my life.
Process started basically with the photo. My wife just took it for me in the bedroom one night after work, put it up on the website, and from there was no backing out, really.
The decision to make the challenge wasn't tough. I just had to get my head around people looking at my before shot when I didn't really want anybody to know that that's what I looked like. But looking at my after shot now, I can say I don't mind people seeing my before shot.
The challenge is such an easy thing to do. It's an easy platform for you to do it. All you've got to do is make that shift. And it's hard to make that shift, but once you do that shift, then the rest will just flow. So trust in the system, trust in us, and believe me, your life will change forever. And that's a big statement, but I can tell you from speaking to hundreds and hundreds of people that their lives have changed forever.
Given the nature of my work, everything's sort of done to structure. You've got a structured roster and you've got to do this at a certain time, and this has got to be prepared, you know, especially court processes and that kind of stuff. So given the challenge, how you've got these meals on these days and you train at this time and you eat at that time, I just loved it. It was perfect because I like to have all the information so I know what I've got to do and when. At the start of each 4-week block, getting the notification on the website that the menu's there, going great, getting into it, looking at the menu, seeing all his head going, yeah, I love that, that's good, yep, I'm working at 2 to 10 that day, I can fit that in. It was just perfect. Everything was done for you.
You got all the work restraints and then what life throws at you. At times it was really hard to keep the diet and to keep the motivation to keep going, but as the journey continued on, it did get easier because I guess your mentality changed, your body got used to the diet.
The kids, I sort of like to say that the kids make you old and make you young at the same time. You know, it's great having the kids running around the house. They're like my little cheer squad. You know, if I'm doing a workout from home, they're always in and amongst it, saying, go, Dad, go. So that's really good.
Work continues, your family continues, life continues around you. Blending your training programs with the social life, and whilst you have the great desire to build a better, healthier body, we found being organised really helped.
I had a little esky in the car with me because I spend most of my shift in the car, so I had an esky in there, and it sometimes meant I had to have a cold dinner, but you know, again, that was just the sacrifice that I needed to make.
Preparation was, I think, is key to the success for most people. I spent most of my time doing a lot of the preparation at home. I mean, I was fortunate enough that my wife turned her weekly shopping routine upside down for me, and look, she was fantastic. She'd go down, do all the shopping, and we would take it in turns in preparing stuff. She was obviously eating the food too. And when we were cooking, we'd cook extra vegetables, extra broccoli, carrots. There'd be, if we did salmon in the oven, we would do enough for 2 or 3 meals.
Having my wife do the challenge this year with me and have the extra support was just, took it to another level. It was amazing. Basically, I was on my own last year, and it sort of meant that I had to just do all my own meals. So the kids and Pippa's meals were made, and then I made my own. Whereas this year, we ate together and we trained together, and I had that extra support, and it was really good. It was definitely a lot better experience this year with the extra support.
Breakfasts, I'm fairly time poor in the mornings. I hate getting out of bed, so I would prepare my eggs the night before.
Nutrition at the first week to 2 weeks started off a bit hard getting into the routine. Then after I got into the routine, it started getting a bit easier. I'd buy all my stuff for the next maybe 3 or 4 days, prepare all my meals the night before, so I'd have all my meals set for the next day. It was hard at the start, always cooking the burgers and stuff, because I'm working behind the grill, so it gets a bit tough with that. We've got all the fresh fish there, so I used to get my fish and put it in the foil on the grill so no oil would get to it. And yeah, it would just come out just as nice, so it was good.
The biggest thing I think with the diet and the nutrition, once you start seeing the results and from what you're putting in your body, it sort of validates why you're having that food. You feel good for it, so I think the nutrition was great side of things, yeah.
The training routines were great because, as I said, I've done weights here on and off, but it was good to sort of almost start afresh because the program for the first 4 weeks was like a beginner's program, 1 exercise per body part. And I was more than happy to do that. I mean, I train at home, I don't have a gym. I had to have that extra motivation to say, righto, to my wife, say, righto, hell, I'm just gonna go and do weights for an hour, I'll see you soon. Walk at the back past to the shed and do it, knowing that there was no one pushing me. I had to do it all myself. And if I didn't get it done, no one was gonna make me do it.
The training was hard at times. I went from someone who used to go to the gym and train chest and tries and just lift heavy and as heavy as I could and walk out of there, to having to do more CrossFit, high intensity, cardio mixed in, weights. It was hard, it was really hard, but it got a little bit easier as you got fitter.
The hardest thing about the challenge for me was probably the time restraints. I work fairly long hours, so trying to fit your exercise and your nutrition in around your work and your family and social commitments was really difficult. But I guess that's why they call it a challenge,
I'd have to say there was probably at least once a week a mini meltdown moment, where you're just thinking, why does it have to be so hard, And then you have your little sook and, oh, why me and why this? And then you just think, well, all you got to do is turn on the news for 5 minutes and bring back to the real world what's actually really hard and what's really tough in life, and just think, put it into perspective and just get on with it and get it done. But, you know, there was quite a few times where you get that. And, you know, all those little things, like sometimes life gets in the way and you've got all these perfect structure and order and you're thinking, yep, okay, that's great. You know, 8:15, check, 8:25, check. Oh, it doesn't work out like that. And, but, you know, you just try and fit it in and you just make it work as best as you can.
My schedule was all over the place because my roster changed frequently. So I guess that was one of the biggest problems or the biggest excuses I used to have was I didn't have time. I needed to stop that excuse that there's just no time.
The hardest thing I found was people not understanding that you were actually in a competition and you were doing something for a reason. People would tell me I was crazy for not indulging in chocolate and chips, which I absolutely love. People thought I was crazy because I didn't touch chocolate for 13 weeks.
Thanks,
Look, I think my mental state was, I'm going to go in this boots and all. I'm going to hit the ground running, I'm going to go hard or go home. I was committed from the start. I mean, look, I approached my wife at the start. I said, look, I'm thinking of doing this challenge, what do you think? She was very supportive. She said, yeah, go for it. And so, look, I think it's important to have some support from family members, just because you feel a bit, there is some inhibitions at the start, you know, so it's nice to have some positive feedback from family and friends, and I was lucky enough to have that from the word go.
My wife was fantastic, my son was fantastic. I had 2 training partners in the gym that were with me all through the process, and those 4 were instrumental in me being here today.
The support I had from my family was just fantastic, and my friends as well. My close friends were always ringing me up and saying, you know, how you going, how much weight have you lost? And being the social media world, I was on, you know, texting them non-stop of my progress, and that kept me accountable as well, but it also inspired them, and a lot of them have started exercising.
I work in a squad that keeps fairly fit, so the guys around me were really good as far as being a training partner, and I copped a little bit of grief when I went into dinner on a training night with chicken and broccoli, and they were eating other things. But sometimes the conversation would turn around and they'd be talking to me about their own diets and stuff, which was fairly rewarding for me. That, you know, even though they gave me a little bit of a hard time about the food that I had, they started to think about what they were eating as well. But as far as support went, I trained with another guy at work who did finish the challenge as well, and he was 10 years older than me. So sometimes during training sessions when I thought, oh, I don't know if I can get through this, and I looked over and there was Phil, 45 years of age, still doing it. I thought, there's no excuses for me, I needed to keep going.
My girlfriend motivated me the most. She said she was going to do it, so she helped me and encouraged me to do it as well. It was good having my friend doing it as well as her, because it just kept on pushing me to keep going, and just always had someone to talk to about it and just go through everything with training and all the cardio workouts, always having someone there.
My dad broke my balls a little bit. Being from Lebanese background, their culture is eat, 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 and I was having 6 meals a day, but because I was losing so much weight, he thought I wasn't eating. The person that supported me most was the person that I thought would give me the most hard time. That was my mother. She woke up every morning and prepared all my meals for me for work. I'd get home from work and I'd have a meal prepared for me before I go to the gym, and come home from the gym and another meal was prepared, so no doubt she made it a lot easier for me. And I also had one of my best mates, George. He also did the challenge with his girlfriend, and you know, we went on long walks together every Sunday and we trained a few sessions together.